Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Welcome to our new episode for today. I hope you're enjoying all the podcasts that we're putting out there. If you've not subscribed to our channel, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, what get launched, and feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube and Instagram, Gardening with Ben. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a review as well, as it's always good to see who's listening and what you think of the podcast. Let's start today's episode. So, welcome to today's episode. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about gardening gear and growing gear, what you can get for your garden and allotment. When obviously you start off with a garden, you'll have the basics, which will be your fork, your spade, your trowel, your watering can, possibly a hose pipe, and those are the very basics in having a garden, and obviously probably a garden mate, something like that. And as the time goes on and your love for the allotment and garden grows, you will look at expanding that range, and once you start seeing stuff online, what other people are using, you will certainly expand your garden growing gear. Obviously, I've got a polytunnel on my allotment, and one thing that I have purchased is an irrigation kit, so that when I'm not at the allotment, I know that the tomatoes will be getting drip watered every couple of minutes and making sure that they're keeping their growth and enjoying keeping going. And one thing about the irrigation kit is that you can put the feed into the top and it will go through gently rather than just watering it straight on and losing most of it out through the bottom. So that is one thing that I've got, and obviously there are other things you can purchase for your allotment. You can purchase like garden thermometers. They all come in different ways nowadays. You can get ones that connect to your phone if you've got Wi-Fi in your garden, what will connect to it, and you can keep an eye on those temperatures in the greenhouse at night. Whether you need to put the garden heater on, that's another thing. Putting the heating on in your greenhouse, as obviously you don't want your plants to die if it's too cold outside at night. So there's all different things that you can get for your allotment, greenhouse and polytunnel. And obviously there's more things that you can purchase to go outside in the garden. You can get your solar lights these days. Again, talking about irrigation, you can get pipes what lay along the garden, what soak the areas, what you can put on garden timers. And it can be quite expensive having a garden and an allotment, because the more things you see, the more things you may want to purchase as well. Another good thing is that growing potatoes, if you grow them in the ground in summertime and you're wanting to grow them through the winter, you can also get like potato bags what you can fill with compost. Put a couple of potatoes in the bottom and cover it with more compost and put them in the greenhouse, and you will be able to get potatoes through Christmas and the winter. So you're continuing growing that harvest through the year. You're not just doing it for that short period of time. And then for the growing gear as well, you can obviously purchase special clothes that are great for kneeling down in the garden, in the soil. Gardening gloves are something that need to be money well spent, as obviously you'll be wearing your gardening gloves most of the time while you're on the allotment. I know it's great to feel the dirt in your hands, but when you're doing the jobs that are mucky or the jobs that can be dangerous, like cutting brambles down, messing with nettles, etc., you need a good pair of gardening gloves. Now, my gardening gloves, I don't use the very thin type ones which you can purchase. I've purchased some really strong ones what are tough and you won't be able to get a bramble fallen through it, or you won't be able to get nettled through them. So it's about protecting yourself as well. And the same goes for if you've got strimmers or hedge cutters. You need to buy that protection to protect yourself as well, with the goggles and other things that will look after you. So that has been basically talking about the gardening gear and the growing gear that you can purchase. There's always those little bit extras to make your garden look better and to save you time as well, especially with drip irrigation. I hate watering on my plot. It's the only job that I don't like doing, and if it can make it better and faster and easier, you certainly will want to do that. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Make sure you do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, which get launched on a daily basis at the moment. And feel free to follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube, Gardening with Ben. Obviously on YouTube you get to see all the videos as well, which we launch regularly. And if you'd like to support Gardening with Ben, check out the link below in the description from our shop, where you can purchase fantastic gardening hoodies and t-shirts. You can also buy a Gardening with Ben mug to be drinking your own brew out of while listening to this podcast. And we've launched recently a fantastic range of greeting cards which can be used for any occasion, and also for letters to send to family and friends. So thanks for listening, and as always, remember, keep gardening.